I'm Ethan.
I'm Emily.
And we're doing this intro again. If this seems forced and strange, it's because the first time the phone did not record it.
I thought you were going to keep
twist.
talking, and that's why I didn't talk.
That's okay. I like this entrance. It's good. We're leaving it in. So, we're here with our weekly podcast for all of you from our little yarn shop in Christchurch, New Zealand. And this is our podcast, What the Flock. And I think we should probably re-record this, but we're not going to. Because chances are, if we start again, there is going to be no hope of this getting done.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are here to tell you everything that's going on with our little yarn shop this week. I have a whole bunch of projects sitting here, and we have a bunch of new stuff to show you, and we have to remind you about all of our exciting events coming up for our anniversary weekends. So, with all of that about to happen, we'd really, really love if you could go down below and click the subscribe button. And if you're new here, go ahead and click that notification bell as well so that you do not miss out on a single episode of this incredible experience.
Why would you want to miss any?
I don't know why people wouldn't want to miss it. It is an action-packed adventure of whatever randomness we've come up with this week. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. So, with all of that said, welcome to our little yarn shop in Christchurch, New Zealand. We're so happy you're here. And hey, Emily, what are you working on this week?
I am working on my second sock.
Oh my gosh.
This was my first sock.
Killed it.
Like first ever
Ooh.
sock. Easy.
Sorry. Didn't mean to savage you with you.
This is my second sock. So yeah, this is Marmalade Yarn Co. So we have this colorway, this Peridot. Did I say it right? Peridot.
Yeah.
Which has a little blue,
turquoisey
mini skein with it. And then the others are still her yarn, but just some little minis that I had. And this is called the Colour Palette sock, which is a free pattern. And I am knitting on a bigger needle size than the pattern calls for, because that's what I had. But they're quite nice, like home socks.
Yeah.
Extra layer while it's getting cold. It's been freezing lately.
It has been very frigid and damp, especially at night.
Yeah.
So your little tootsies are going to crave some wool.
Yes. So I can't wait to get the second one finished.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that front.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very cute. I'm very proud of your first socks. You've done a great job.
Yeah.
And it shows off the minis and the ways that you can use sock minis. And we do have some sets of sock minis as well from Marmalade Yarn Co. So if you love the way Emily's socks look, which why wouldn't you? Then you can also just order a pack of minis and make the exact same socks.
You can.
And be just as cool as Emily.
Yeah.
Amazing. What else do you have on the go?
I still have my tessellated cardigan, but I haven't really done much on that. I was quite busy in the last week getting ready for Woolfeast.
Yes, and how was Woolfeast this year?
It was good, yeah. It was busy, sold lots of buttons.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I am not sad that I hunkered down at the shop instead of going to Woolfeast. I'm not sorry, everyone. I find it a very stressful event every year, and I was not glad to hear that I had to be at the shop on Saturday, to be honest. But it was a lovely opportunity to be here and answer some really complicated questions on Sunday that people came in with. So I'm glad that I ended up here because I was at the right place at the right time. Well, I have the reverse situation to you in many ways. I have a lot of different things on the go because I have to admit, I was aiming for Project Monogamy with this Windy pullover. So this is Windy that I'm working on by Helga Isager. It's a beautiful pattern. I will not be fully taking it out of its 2 project bags because it has come to the point where I must make a public service announcement about this project. If you are going to be knitting Windy, which I would actually recommend, I would use Tibony instead of Spinny if I was ever to do it again. And I also would want to make sure that I had done both shoulders before I started either sleeve. So the way that the pattern is written is not how I decided to pick up and work the shoulder and sleeve, because it would have caused an extra half row on one side to the other, which I didn't want. So I ended up breaking the yarn a bunch of times at the shoulder. But what I didn't do, which I want to be clear is my fault as the knitter, is I didn't fully finish each shoulder, which means that the other shoulder still has 2 100-meter circulars sticking out of it, which is not particularly terrifically convenient.
Are they getting in your way?
Well, they've now been contained inside of another bag. So what I've done is I've taken the rest of the project and I've stuck it into this project bag, and then all of its yarn and stuff is hanging out in this project bag because it was the only way that I could work out to make this function. It's made it really difficult to take it places. And I'm onto the brioche sleeve, and I'm more than halfway through the sleeve. I'm working into the decreases now. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of, I think, 9 to 12 decreases, depending on how you want to shape the sleeve for yourself, away from the ribbing. And it is definitely picking up speed as I go. I'm really excited because it's starting to, you know, that excitement that happens near the end of a project where you can see the end in sight, and so you start to pick up a little bit of speed on it. That's what's happening, but I did need to take a break from it because I have not been knitting. I knit one seamless top-down thing so far this year, and I found it really, really frustrating to knit. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more next week. I wanted to wait a couple of weeks till I was past knitting it because I was so negative about it at the time. And I've really thought about it, and I'm not any more positive, but I have a much more pleasant way of talking about it, I think, which is good for me and for all of you. The other thing that happened is I knit a hat. So this is a new hat design that I'm gonna have coming out. I'm really excited about it. It's come out super, super cute and not nearly as Ronald McDonald Salute to Knitting as we were concerned with. It turns out that the mustard yellow as opposed to the sunshine yellow and breaking it up with the gray and the navy really helps it to look a bit more crisp and elegant, and I'm super excited to be offering this pattern out to the world. I think it's going to be a really great option for a lot of different knitters. It's a 2x2 rib hat that starts from a 2x2 tubular cast on and then goes up, and it has this kind of flat crown shaping that means that you get this cute little right at the top. So it was really fun to knit. I knit that in some leftover 100% cashmere that I had, and I really loved it. Super fun knit. Took about a day. Absolutely would recommend. Then, speaking of our sock sets, so I took a sock set home, and then I was like, oh boy, I should actually do something with this instead of just squatting on it for the rest of my life. So I decided to design Emily a little sock, which I've decided to call Sweet Enough. And so this is my Sweet Enough sock pattern, and I learned a bunch of things during this, which is really exciting, including how to do a fish lip contrast color heel. So I used the CC Mini. So this is the peach colorway, and I used the CC Mini for the toe, and I abbreviated the toe. I wanted it to be kind of short, so you just got a little pop of color at the tip, because I wanted it to be roughly the same amount of fabric as the heel, and I think I got that just right, which is great. And then the body of the sock, in an ode to Emily, is worked in seat stitch. That's right. And then there's a little cable down the side with a gap of stockinette stitches. So if you're somebody who finds that a 64 stitch sock is too big for you, even on small needles, there are 2 stitches on either side of the chart that you can just take away. And it won't affect the fit of the sock or the way that the sock works, but it will make things easier for you, the knitter. And smaller. So that's kind of I think it's a good tactic, is to give people places to remove stitches, but this is also meant to be resized by needle size, but you can go on your own exploratory adventure. You will find that the seed stitch has slightly more negative ease than the stockinette, but you will also find that the caliper cable on the side here that I've done, this little cable buddy there, is going to really open up and let you still get the same total fit that you would. So don't make any adjustments outside of what you would normally knit for a sock when you're knitting this. I've thought about that. Don't go on your own adventure. Trust the sock.
Which size are you making?
I am making the largest size, which is a 64 on a 2.75 millimeter needle, because I don't have long feet, but I do kind of have flippers. Because I had very bad bunions that I've had surgery on, and I also wear strange shoes that
It's also the perils of being a ballet dancer.
Yeah, here's time for my annual PSA. Don't put your kids in ballet. Thanks. Anyway, although they're much nicer now. They don't stand on their legs anymore, I found out. Which, I don't know how those kids are getting their splits these days.
Yeah.
Probably not. Their hips might work in their 30s. That's a fresh new concept.
Yeah.
So that sock pattern is actually already live and testing on the Flock Online. So if you're interested in getting amongst it, join the Flock Online if you want access to most of my patterns for free and all of my test nets. Because it's too much work for me to check 18 places. I'm not one of those people who's going to be running a test net through Slack or through Telegram or anything else like that. You can come play out in my platform if you want to hang out and test net. And I'm also no longer running them by email. I have learned from my previous mistakes, everyone. The other thing that I have on the go is a deeply personal project with yarn that you can order from us, but we're not regularly stocking yet. But I didn't have a cardigan misfire. The cardigan came out to the exact size that it should have, My Acadia cardigan, everything worked just fine. But I know that this is self-inflicted, but honestly, I think we need to work on being less shitty to people who are trying to better themselves. So if people could try that for me, that would be great. I have packed on about 10 centimeters of muscle through my chest and upper back. I've really struggled over the years to gain muscle mass in this area, and that's not particularly interesting, but from the beginning of the cardigan in January to the end of the cardigan in May, my body changed, and it doesn't fit, which the pattern is great. It came out to the exact size, everything worked. I'm just not shaped like that at the moment. So because I'm my own model, it puts a delay on the pattern getting released. So I've decided to actually essentially cardiganize what I'm wearing, and then release both of these patterns at the same time. And I wanted just to knit a test run so I could get the sizing right when I knit the actual sample. And if this works, it might become the actual sample. And honestly, I've been trying to test some ChiaoGoo needles on my last 2 projects to be able to form a more articulated opinion about why I don't particularly love working with anything but Mindfuls now. And so I tried Addie's for 1 project and ChiaoGoo's for 2 projects, and then I'm back on the Mindfuls on these, and oh my god, the knitting on the Knit Pros is so much better. Either my Lantern Moons or my Mindfuls, I will never knit with ChiaoGoo's again. Which, if you had told me that even like 3 years ago when the Mindfuls first came out, I would have said you were being ridiculous. ChiaoGoo's were my first needles that I fell in love with, and I used them forever, but I have to admit, now that I've gotten used to the Mindfuls and that I really, really love them, there's no going back. And I prefer these or the Lantern Moons 1,000% to anything else now. What I especially love is the fineness of the cable and the way that the swivel is articulated. And even though the cables do break more frequently and other things happen, I'd rather just buy new cables than put up with the ChiaoGoo ever again. This is a personal preference. I want to be clear. I don't think that this is a be-all and end-all. Everybody's going to have a different experience. What you value in your knitting and what I value in my knitting can be very different. So if you're sitting at home and you're a dedicated ChiaoGoo user, don't rush out and buy a Mindful set, but do buy a needle with one of the new swivel cables to try, because I think it will give you another option, even if you don't want to change your entire knitting collection over, right?
Sometimes it's like better the devil you know, and you don't try, and then you find out actually I like those better.
Yeah, and so I was going through that for years. We've been mindful. So we've been Knit Pro stockists. When I was previously at Outlaw Yarn, we were Knit Pro stockists. So I got really used to them over the years. I've tried almost every set that they produce, and honestly, I thought maybe I'd become quite biased. And I knit one project, a shawl, on a pair of ChiaoGoo fixed 100 centimeter circulars, and I thought, actually, I still love these. I'm gonna knit the next 2 projects on them, and then I'll be able to see if I really love them. And the answer is no, but I'm gonna give a more detailed review in why my preferences are like this, in the hope that if you know what you like about your needles, then hearing what I like about one needle versus the other might give you more information when making a selection on your next project or purchase. Because, apparently I'm not done talking about this, sorry, because I also discovered that it was project specific. So I do think there are still some projects where I might want a ChiaoGoo needle, but overall, I much prefer the Mindful.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I always say that to customers as well. They're like, what's the difference? It's like, well, it's mainly personal preference, but also the project or the yarn you're using might lead you to one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the yarn. So this is Cumbria worsted, which, like the incredible yarn from Admora, which is that great 3-ply construction yarn that we have, that's that beautiful 80% mohair. This guy is 20% mohair. And it is knitting up beautifully. You can see it has that still subtle sheen. It's 60% merino, 20% brown mash, and 20% mohair. I'm loving knitting it. I've used, complete disclosure, I have used this yarn to make an entire garment that I loved, and then I got muscular, so it doesn't fit anymore. My mother has it. You're welcome, Mum.
Which company is it from?
This is from the Fiber Company, the Fiber Co. And we can definitely order you this if you would like to get started early, although we are planning on stocking this over time because I fucking love it. I'm
What
so
weight
happy.
is it?
It is a worsted weight. I would say it's a lighter worsted weight. I like a dense knit, so I'm knitting this on a 4mm needle still. I'm really thrilled with the fabric. This is probably Emily's first time touching Cumbrian knit up. It has a really smooth feeling to it. It's not particularly like soft, the way that if we were discussing softness, we would say that the Otamatata station yarn is soft, but it's also not scratchy or itchy. It's just not like mind-blowing softness, but it's smooth and light and rich and warm feeling to your hand.
Yeah, it feels quite like thick.
And like it's just such a gorgeous yarn to work with. This color is called Eden Valley. Spoiler alert, the last time I knit in this yarn, I also used Eden Valley.
Is this silk provisional cast on?
Yes. So as always, I'm using my favorite provisional cast on yarn, which is Silky McSilk Face by Harney Hoolies. The other one that I like to use is Silky Humps. If Julie is watching this, but she's not, Julie dyes some of the best yarn known to mankind. But here's the thing about Silky McSilk Face for provisional cast-ons. Because it's a single ply construction, it actually grips onto itself. So what I've started doing is using 2 needles to do the provisional cast on. And then I'm working into it just with the one needle that I want for the rest of it. But the Silky McSilk Face actually holds the shape and the size of the stitch you make. Whenever it says cast on loosely, it's so hard to do. This is the answer. Yeah, it's expensive and it's an expensive yarn to use as a provisional cast on. But here's the thing. None of us are using cheap yarn anymore, right? All of us are using yarn of great value and beauty to make things that we love. So if we're doing that, we should have the best tools for the job. And you know what? One skein of Silky McSilk Face will do you about 5 years worth of tubular cast-ons.
I was going to say it'll go a long way.
I would absolutely 10 out of 10 recommend adding a skein of Silky McSilk Face to your next order, because you will be able to use it for every this is the same ball that I've had for 4.5 years. I'm almost done it, and then I will start another one.
You could also make yourself something pretty and then use the leftovers.
Technically, this is the leftovers from my lady's lunch date tea that now lives with Elise, because I am not as delicate and ladylike in my body as I used to be. I'm now a big butch man under my clothes with relatively large muscles, and it turns out that the adorable and gorgeous Ladies Lunch Date series is no longer for Ethan's big body. But the rest of you might love it. I have to say, I still look at a Ladies Lunch Date tea and think, ooh, damn, especially with mini skein sets, because there's a mini skein version. And, you know,
she's got a few different versions now, right, as well, like a cardigan and
yes, there's a cardigan, there's now a textured pullover, there's all sorts of great options. And Julie is a great designer, and so she's Harney Hooley Designs on Instagram if you're looking for her for that stuff. And if not, you can find her on Ravelry, and if you have any questions or want any help finding any New Zealand designer patterns, we're always thrilled to help. We do pretty much know what's going on with most of our fellow designers in New Zealand, and quite honestly, I like almost everybody who designs in New Zealand. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. And if you want help finding the perfect New Zealand-made pattern for you, A, we have a bunch in shop. B, we have access to a bunch of other ones that we can give you really detailed advice on. And C, we love talking about it. So do come in with those questions.
And the other good thing about New Zealand, even though we have got options now, is that New Zealand designers are probably more likely to have yarn that's easy to get here.
Exactly.
So you're not trying to substitute
Totally.
weird and wacky stuff.
Although we are finding, I don't know if you've been finding this, but I've been finding, and it leads into something that we've been kind of gently noodling back and forth on. We have no firm plans on how we're going to do this yet, so don't hold us to anything. But we have been finding that people are getting really great results knitting Danish designed patterns in the Isager yarns. Because Isager is one of the oldest yarn companies and they work with the oldest mills in Denmark, almost all other yarns that exist in Denmark are spun to the same standard as Isager, because they're kind of the gold standard. So what that's meant for us, and what I've been noticing, is people are coming in with these great, or sometimes not so great, I'll be honest, Danish patterns, but by using the actual yarn intended for it, that's the perfect weight, the perfect combination, and finally, the instructions to buy 250 grams of yarn make sense now that we sell this. Suddenly, it's like, oh, and it is really much easier to make sure that you're getting the right amount for your projects, and the results we're seeing are incredible. So if you have struggled in the past with things like petite knits patterns or I honestly sometimes think they're all the same person, so I'm so sorry. I know they're not, but there's Camilla Vad. Yep, we have access to all of the yarns that Camilla Vad has used. We have access to all of the yarns that Petite Knits has used pretty much, as in things that substitute perfectly for it with no extra work on your part. We are also working on some other exciting and fun things in that vein that are going to be coming to your hot little hands as soon as they've passed through our hot little hands. And across the board, though, we're getting pretty excited about the possibilities of what we can do with the yarn selections we're able to bring in. And I think that both Emily and I want to go on a adventure with some of it, right? Yeah. So
Why not?
Yeah, I think that we want to go on a little Danish confection adventure. So if you want to join us for our Danish confection knit along, we are going to be having some options, and we're going to be starting to talk about it over the next couple of weeks as we gear up for what we're going to knit. And we might even have a special pre-order that opens in case you want to knit some specific patterns and specific colors. And there's children walking by outside. Aren't they supposed to be corralled somewhere during the day? Aren't they supposed to be kept somewhere where I don't have to see them? Anyway, I love children. Was that convincing?
No,
Should I try it again?
No point.
It'll only get worse, won't it? Anyway, thank God they're free or whatever. But we love what we've got. We love our options. Now, the other exciting thing is I'm going to show you something that I put up on Instagram this morning, but I'm only going to show you the side without the label. Ooh, I know, right? I know. So this is some preview order that I did for a yarn because, spoiler alert, I did the preview order and then before I actually finalized the preview order, which was just to touch the yarn for the first time, I had already ordered it. I think the spoiler alert is because my main concern was that this would not be soft enough for someone. And you know what?
I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I was super impressed. So this is a new woolen spun yarn. This is a true sport weight. So when you see it, your eyes are gonna pop out of your head. Mine kind of did. I don't know about yours, but like, it's everything that we've been dreaming of in a lot of ways, and I'm super excited. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm going to sit down and knit myself a calypso in this.
Yes.
With Ghost Wrench, the easiest color to tell which one it is, right? Boom, Ghost Wrench. So I'm gonna knit myself something with this and Ghost Wrench, and then hopefully by the time I have it done, everything is here and we can tell you even more about it. But yes, so exciting things to keep in mind. Danish confection knit along, which is apparently now what we're calling it. You're welcome, everyone. We'll probably find a better name. Maybe
what do you normally call it?
Copenhagen syndrome.
Don't you normally call it like depressing Danish or
sad Danish babies?
Yeah, that's it. I was like, there's a word you use.
Yeah. Everyone loves a sad beige Danish baby these days, and I'm just like, okay, cool.
Maybe not the most inspiring for a knit along.
No.
Maybe we should
I think we'll stick with Danish confection or Copenhagen syndrome. We'll find out which one. We'll let you know. Or we could call it the Skagen effect, but
maybe.
Skagen is the northernmost point in Denmark.
Just makes me think of Scroggin, which is a different thing.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Scroggin is?
No, but how would I know what that is?
It's like a snack that you take hiking. It's like nuts and raisins and chocolate.
Gorp. You're talking about Gorp.
No.
Yeah,
Scroggin.
she is. For those of you who know the real way to hike, she's talking about Gorp. You're welcome. I helped. So, anyway, this is coming. Danish confection knit along is coming, and we already have some things here in store to show you.
We do.
Emily, hit the people with the new. And we just need you to know this is not going to last long, so don't be those people because it's already moving quickly as it always does.
Yes.
So please, hear our words. If you see something,
say something? No, that's
buy it. Don't say something. We can't help them with that. Oh, yeah, he just drove the scissor lift into the building they're erecting. Oh, now he's back to it. Oh, across the way is lively today. Yes, so hit the people. Oh.
We raided someone's stash after Woolfeast.
Thank you, Katrine.
We
Our
now
friends
have
are very generous.
Ritzy Boucle.
So I have to admit, funny story. I told Katrine this story. Recently, not that recently, about a year ago, I ordered some Ritzy Boucle for myself off of her website. And I went on and I read the website and I was like, oh, 100 meters per skein. Emily, tell the people how many meters are actually in this game.
There are 400 meters in this game.
So I needed about 600 meters worth of yarn, so I ordered 6 skeins. Good news, I only needed 2.
So it's a 4-ply,
Yes.
but I was talking to Katrine about it, and she thinks you could potentially get gauge for the Nebula tee in this
so
as well.
if you want a silky soft, fabulous nebula,
Yeah.
because of the construction on this yarn, which is a boucle constructed with a silk core,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a merino boucle with a silk core, which means that it's going to both have the grip and inherent nature of the wool, but
Mm-hmm.
also you're going to get the structure and the sheen of the silk coming through.
Yeah.
It knits up fabulously in any stitch pattern. I'm using it in brioche with a secondary yarn, and it is fucking sublime. And we're really thrilled. This is a unique base, as far as I know, that only Katrine is offering in this market. And we are thrilled to be offering it to you.
It's quite different to the Issachar boucle, like that has
Yes.
bigger
Yeah.
loops, and this is more like
It's more of a fine,
Stretchy.
delicate,
Yeah.
crunchy looking, incredibly soft feeling yarn. You're not going
it
to regret
reminds me of like when people curl their hair back in the day, but
Yeah.
not like
It's
comb
like
it
a
out,
sexy
like-
perm.
Yeah.
Sexy perm
So
yarn.
this one is Whisper, and this one is Stormful.
And they are 400 meters per skein.
Yes.
Don't be Ethan. They're 100 grams. We have a
Yeah.
whole other selection of colors too.
Yes.
And you're going to want them all. So just buy one of everything. Don't be crazy.
And she also gave us some one-of-a-kind colours, which is fun. Some of them have already sold, but we
Breaking
have
news.
this one, which is a really pretty mohair. So it's like
Yes.
blues and greys and like a kind of like a pinky tinge.
Yeah, it's
Everything you could ever want. It's so pretty.
magical.
So we have mohair, we have machinist, we have sage, and we have the boucle.
For now.
Yeah. We
By the end of this
had.
podcast, by
We
the
had
end
it.
of you watching this video, it will probably be gone.
This is proof we had it.
Might be gone before then. It's knit night tonight.
Yeah.
Ooh. That usually doesn't end well for the yarn.
Yes.
In a good way for us.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that's coming up is, believe it or not, you have been tolerating Emily and I for almost an entire year of doing this, which is wild.
And building noise on the same building for
Honestly,
an entire year.
I just can't. I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been 10. That might just be me and the burnout talking, but it does feel like it's been 10. He just drove it into another post.
It's okay. What are the posts?
Take his license away. Sorry. We're talking about a building across the street that's literally had to be taken down twice now because it was put up incorrectly, which is shocking. Like, we're watching it go up for the third, and the second time they took it down, they had to rip out all the old footings that took months to put in and put in all new ones because they had done it wrong from the get-go. Anyway, we're not resentful. But we are thrilled that one day it might end. So, but it's been a year, and we have an anniversary coming up.
We do.
And we have decided to, I decided to torture Emily by making it an entire weekend full of events on her birthday weekend. Again. Just like I did last time. Anyway, so on the 5th, Emily will not be here because that's her birthday. I will be here running a brioche class for all of you for free. I'm taking up to 20 people for this brioche class because it's been a while since I've taught in person here in Christchurch. And I thought this would be a great way to kick it back off by bringing you my most popular class for free to say thank you for all of your support over the last little while. So we would really love to see all of you. It's going to run from 6 till 8, and we're actually going to do it next door at 231. So you're going to be able to come in here, browse around, have a little shop, and then we'll go boop next door to use their tables because teaching brioche on the lap is not a good plan. All you'll need for that is some 4mm needles of your choice in 2 colors of DK weight yarn of your choice. And apart from that, show up with a good attitude or I will ask you to leave. Sounds like a joke, but I'm being very serious. Now, continuing with our good news-a-thon. Good news, everyone, right? It's a Futurama reference for those of you who didn't get it.
I wasn't, but yeah.
Wow. We also, on Saturday, are going to be hosting a yarn tasting here at the shop, and you'll be able to order it for home as well. We will have 20 luxury yarn tasting boxes to go out. We believe that the price is going to be around $65 for the box, and so you get 10 grams of 10 different yarns in one little box. And we're gonna wind it all up for you and give you some great ideas of how to swatch with it and work with it, and you'll be able to come into the shop if you wanted on this Saturday from 4 till 6 to talk about it, to look at it, and then if you're really, really interested, we'll have to put up a thing to RSVP, but we're gonna go for some drinks and light snacks afterward, and you are super, super welcome to join us, and we would love to see all of you. Then last, and not least, and more than halfway sold, we have Lights Up Knitting.
Yeah, so
On this Sunday.
it's a lunchtime viewing, so it's 1 p.m.
Yes, thank God.
And the movie we're going to watch is I can never say it, the Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society. Or some of those words with
some
other
or
words.
all of those words.
It's a lot of words.
Just Google Guernsey potato peel and I'm sure it'll come
Yeah,
up.
so it's a really cool like period drama set just after the war, I think.
Yeah.
And they're going to have, it's going to be at Alice Cinemas, which is just down the road, also on High Street. And they are putting the lights on so that we can see our knitting.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you can buy tickets online or in store, and they are $17 each.
Amazing. So, will we have a little bit of a sale? Maybe, but probably not a huge one. We'll be very honest. Everybody and their sister does an anniversary sale, and we get it, but our anniversary happens pretty much right at end of financial year, which is just a hilarious fact, like not on purpose. Believe me, we didn't have much of a choice when we opened. But we are super thrilled and we cannot wait. And there's so many things to do this weekend. And also, we do want to remind all of you, if you are in Christchurch on a Saturday, don't forget to go and line up at Butter. Because if you are not doing this, you are missing out on the true Get Flocked anniversary experience.
Yes.
We expect all of you
Delicious.
flockers that are in town, and all of you who are traveling here for the anniversary, we assume, like the pilgrimage to Mecca, come
There'll be a
visit
whole
us.
new month of specials too, because it'll be a different
I know, it's super exciting, and I'm assuming they're all going to be Get Flocked themed.
Yeah.
So, don't tell Corentin. He doesn't watch this. Anyway, so with all of that done, remember, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, you're busy. If anyone wants you to do something, unless it's to come to Get Flocked, tell them, no, I'm sorry, Get Flocked.
Yeah.
And move on. Don't explain yourself, right? Don't explain yourself. Number 2, we have new yarns. They're rolling in left, right, and center. If you are not signed up to that newsletter, you are going to miss out.
Yes.
Number 3, buy the yarn floozy before someone else does, and please don't message us. We can't help you when it's gone. We'll do our best, but please.
Yeah.
And and start your engines revving for some Danish confection knitting, because Lord only knows what we're gonna find and knit. Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's everything.
Amazing. Well, we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I should have done this better. I might cut this part actually out, because this is like relatively embarrassing.